Well, how y'all doing today? Hope y'all having a blessed day. Now, I made a video yesterday about the things that people cast away that actually have value. All right? They just don't see any value in them. And in that video, in the ditch was laying a pot, a flower pot. Somebody just tossed it down over the hill. And today, Larry, the maintenance guy, was out there raking up some leaves, and I asked him, I said, did you see the flower pot in the ditch? Because I couldn't get to it. I can't not get to it. And he said, yeah, I did. I said, can I have it? I'd like to have it. And he brought it up to me, and so here it is. It's cracked, but I can tape it, and they're made to be biodegradable, and but I think I'm going to have some use for that. Now, where I live, I don't hardly get any sun at all. I've made some videos where the sun's coming up, but almost right away once it comes up, it hits that, pardon me, that overhang right there, and yeah, we don't get any sun. But there are plants that are what they call, pardon me, I'm still congested. I had a cold. But anyway, we don't get a lot of sun here. That's my point, unfortunately. But there are low shade plants. They're called low shade plants, and they grow good in shade, and you don't get a whole lot of sun. And that's what that's all about. Hello. Anyway, I'm going to utilize that flower pot. There are some plants that will grow. I'm hoping to try my hand at some, well, they're not exactly grape tomatoes, but they do grow in bunches, and they look like grapes. Now, I have grown some of them before, and there's no way I could ever grow beefsteak here, which I'd love to, because there's just not enough sun. But I might be able to do me some early girl or early boy, and if anything else, I could make fried green tomatoes with them and pickle me some green tomatoes. And if you ain't ever had a pickled green tomato in brine, those things are ancient, okay? They really are ancient. Hebrews made them, okay? And they're wonderful. I've had a lot of Jewish friends, and I've had a lot of friends, period. And I want to try my hand at some of them. And I'd like to try my hand at some of those ornamental edible peppers. Okay, I had Asian friends that had those. And they would bring them inside during the winter and grow them. And you could still eat them, and whew, were they hot. But anyway, I rescued that flower pot today, and I'm glad I did. Now, when I lived up in North Carolina, I had my own place, and I had my son's help. My son would take me to get all the supplies I needed. I called management and said, can we garden here? And they said, no, ma'am, we don't allow people to tear up the soil. Well, all right. So I went out and I bought me a bunch of containers and soil and things I needed to add to the soil. Some dried manure and stuff like that, and cut holes in the bottom of them totes and mixed up my soil and covered it up and let it sit for a while, watered it up and let it sit for a while and dry out, and then I planted. And every time my son would come over, he'd head right for my sliders and open up the door and go out on the back porch and out where I had them totes. And he would stand there and smile. I had my own little victory garden going. I trestled me some cucumbers and had the tomatoes going along with herbs. I used to grow and dry my own herbs. And he was just thrilled about it. Well, he wasn't thrilled when he had to help me go get the stuff now. I grew in totes. Like I said, I cut holes in the bottom of them totes. And he had to haul all of those bags of soil over there. He wasn't happy about that. Now my kids watched me grow things, but they were little. And a couple years ago, my son tried his hand at it, and he planted some stuff in a kiddie pool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can plant in a lot of things. I watch a channel, they have planted what they call walking onions in an old volleyball, and they have farmed out clippings from that, and other people have walking onions because they have farmed the clippings out. At one point, my mother grew a coleus, okay, which is not edible, and there were 6 of us at the time, and all of us took a clipping, and all of us had a coleus plant from her clipping from her coleus plant, and they just grew like crazy. They just did, and first thing I ever grew was in kindergarten. We kept the little half-pint cartons of milk from lunch, and our teacher filled it with soil, and we grew pinto beans. Everybody had a pinto bean, and we grew it. We put our names on the containers, and I'll tell you, nothing grows faster than a pinto bean. Really, it doesn't. And my parents grew things in the city. They grew things. Being from the South, my father was from West Virginia, my mother from Indiana, and they grew to survive. Okay, they grew to survive, and my grandmother's canned. For big families, 5 boys, 5 girls on both sides. They grew to survive. So, but that was the first thing I ever grew. I'm hoping that my son grows something this year. If ever there was a time that we need to get back to the Victory Garden, it's now. If you don't know what a Victory Garden is, you need to Google it, look it up on YouTube, and we need it. I mean, like I said, you can grow in just about anything. My problem is not growing something. My problem is sunlight. So anything I grow, I have to grow in low shade, which means a lack of sunlight, because I got this overhang right here. And I get beautiful sunrises, I get beautiful sunsets, but I don't get a whole lot of sun. So I want to try my hand at that, especially at those ornamental, edible hot peppers. I love hot peppers. When you love to garden, you can never have enough space. You can never have enough time. You're just doing it. And it's not just vegetables. I've grown other things, flowers. In North Carolina, when I did my container growing, I put in some marigolds. Marigolds are a natural pesticide. Me and my first husband owned our own pest control company. I named it. It's still in business today. And they make pest controls make pesticide has made a lot of things, but they use marigolds for that, and it's called diazinon. All right, it's a natural pest control. But if you're planting a garden, plant you some marigolds, because it's a natural insect repellent. Just saying. So I'm glad I was able to rescue that pot. People throw away things these days that have so much value, and they don't realize it. They just don't. And now I was telling my son the other day I'd love to have me some milk crates. And he said, whatever for? And I said, well, I'd line them. I'd line them with garbage bags, put some holes in the bottom, and fill them with soil. I could grow something in them. You can grow something in almost anything. You really can. And so Larry was good enough to bring me that flower pot. My friend Ma Gray is moving out. Unfortunately, a lot of the friends that I make come and go at the end of next month. And I'm hoping she'll be able to get me some help in getting some of the things that I need to grow something. Management ain't going to like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. There's other people growing here. Somebody up there has a recycling bin, and I've been told they don't even recycle here in Arkansas. I'm in Arkansas, and I've been told they don't recycle here in Arkansas. Man, would I ever love to have me good 9, 12 of them. I really would. I have no clue where I'd get them. But I think that maybe Margaret can help me. She has some friends. Would help me get some soil up here. Because the planting season here starts like end of March into mid-April, into April. So I still got time. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm hoping that my son will plant some. I'm going to encourage him to do it. He absolutely has the room for it. So I'm working on that. It's always boggled my mind to go past a house that has some property on it, and I'm like, why ain't they growing something? Why are they not? I mean, if I had that kind of property, I'd be growing me something. And we're getting back to that. We're getting back to that, people, where people need to start their victory gardens. Okay? This summer, when you see what it is, of what it costs you to buy a tomato, you're going to reconsider. All right? Green onions will grow in a heartbeat. All right? They really will. And, I mean, you can grow a salad. All right? I remember when my little sister up north was putting in a garden. And she said, I'd like to put me in some lettuce, but I just don't have the room for, heads of lettuce. And I said, you don't have to grow heads of lettuce. She said, what do you mean? I said, grow you some bib lettuce. All you have to do is cut off what you need for that night to make a salad, and it'll come back. Well, she ended up calling me back, and she said, you're right, I planted some leaf lettuce. It's called leaf lettuce. I grew me some bib lettuce and red lettuce, and all I had to do was go out there whenever I wanted to make salad with dinner for us, all of us, and just cut it off, and it would grow back. I said, well, there you go. So, and she's big into sunflowers. She is. And they're beautiful things. Me, I'm practical. I do grow plants that are just flowers, that are non-edible. But to me, the best thing you can do is grow something that's edible. But like I said, marigolds, they're pest control. So surround your garden with marigolds. And they will go to seed. And I used to save the seed for my marigolds and replant them the following year. Another plant that I just adore that is not edible is morning glories. I love morning glories. I like oxalis, which is non-edible as well. They grow from what's called corn, not a seed. Each corn produces its own, not plant, but kind of stalk. And they're a purple flower that, much like a morning glory, they close up, but in the sunlight they open up. And it looks like a butterfly sitting on the stem of a plant when it opens up. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. One of my most favorite plants right there. And I learned that I worked in a plant nursery, sat under the tutelage of a woman that had a degree in horticulture and botany. Went to college for it. And she had started her own plant nursery. And for several years, I was employed there, and I was their only employee. And I would start the seed and transplant the seed to a bigger pot, and we sold mostly to landscaping companies, but we did open up 2 or 3 times a year. And we sold to other nurseries. We used to load up the dually. He had a dually. Her husband had worked construction and quit that to help her open up the nursery. And we'd load up the dually, and I'd take them out and help them unload. I mean, we'd deliver them. I would deliver them to other nurseries and unload the truck for them. And she taught me a lot. She taught me about variegated, what it is to be variegated. And she had a sage plant that went woody. Let me tell you how hard that is. To keep a sage plant alive long enough for it to go woody. She had that thing a good 25, 30 years. And when she did open up to the public, people would flock there. And she'd set that out there, and people would just stand there in awe of that plant. And my sister actually was given a plant, a Christmas cactus, all right, by one of her patients that it had gone woody. A Christmas cactus, okay? It had gone woody. And when the woman passed away, she left it to my sister. I can't imagine. I mean, I have tried to get a Christmas cactus to last that long. It never could. But she left that to my sister. Long story short, I'm going to be doing me some planting. I don't think management's going to like it, but I'm in pretty good with management here. I mean, they like me. I'm clean. I'm quiet. And I stay to myself. And I don't think I'm going to have that much trouble. The problem is going to be being able to afford everything. And because I'm on a very limited income. But if I can find some things to plant in, I'm going to do that. I'm going to line this whole wall right here with it. And some of this over here. Yeah, I have some space. I just don't have a lot of sun. So I have to be particular what I grow. Pardon me. So, but I'm going to be talking to my son because, you know, you pass that knowledge on. You really do. And it's obvious these days that people haven't passed that on to their kids. They didn't do it themselves. They didn't pass it on to their kids. And if ever we live in a day where they need to know about a Victory Garden, it's now. So I'm grateful that I rescued that flower pot. They're made to be biodegradable, and although it probably takes years, and I'm going to clean it up and tape it up, and it'll be something, a starter for something. You know, I'm just trying to wrap my head around that because, you know, if you garden, you can never have enough land. You can never have enough time. And it's just a love. It's something you love to do. And it's not just a love, but it's a necessity. Now, I come from you know, my father was from the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia. And my mother was from Indiana. 5 boys, 5 girls on both sides. And you grew, you harvested, and you canned to get through the winter. That's what you did. People don't look at that no more. It's not a necessity. It's a hobby to people now. And if ever there was a day and age where people need to get away from that, it's now. They need to get away from that. Victory Gardens absolutely need to be started. This is not the first time that the economy has crashed because of war or what have you, and people had to find an alternative source of survival, and they started planting and they started growing. I mean, it's sad that it takes something like this to kickstart something like that again. It really is. It should be being done all the time. You know, there's nothing more serene or peaceful than sitting out in your garden. All right? There's really, first thing in the morning, the dew still on the grass, that fog so thick you can't see your hand in front of your face, and you're sitting there sipping on your coffee. I mean, it's medicinal, people. To me it is. Hey, Harmon.
Hello, hello.
You get a break from doing the pool today?
Yeah,
Good thing, yeah, but it's a good day to do it, really.
yeah. I wish we could get it all out of there, but it's kind of heavy.
I guess. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoy the fruits of your labor at some point. Yeah. So, yeah, so my mind's on gardening this morning, and I'm glad I was able to save that pot. That flower pot. I mean, it was like, I got to do something about that. It rubbed me so much the wrong way. Anyway, that's what I'm contemplating this morning. Y'all need to get back to gardening for, survival. Look up what a victory garden was, all right? Because this ain't the first time we've all been in this situation, all right? And what people did to survive when that happened. And y'all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.